New week, new documenting the journey. Welcome back. On this channel, I document my journey, building my brand, exchange life from 0 to 10 million a year. We sell custom jewelry. And in the first part of this video, it will be all about the brand, what is going right, what is going wrong, how I'm scaling it. It's Q4, guys, relevant for anyone into e-commerce. And the second part will be about my life outside of the brand. What I'm doing here in Mexico, where I'm going, my travels around. I have some, interesting updates about self-development and thoughts that I'm having in my brain. So yeah, that is relevant for anyone that is trying to build cool shit. Young entrepreneurs, arguably more important than making money. What is money without a good life, right? So yeah, I'm ready for this week's documenting the journey. Let's get into it. A lot has been going on. It's been a few weeks, but we're back. A few weeks ago, in the last video, I said I'm trying to create some content in the Philippines because I'm a big fan of working with Asia. A lot of my team is from the Philippines. We do a lot, everything that we can over there. So I thought content creation should be another thing I should try to do in the Philippines. And one of the girls that is working for me did a few test things and tried out to see what she could do. And here I'll add some examples, but it's great. I can now also create content in the Philippines. There's a few benefits to that. It's very quick turnaround times. They can usually get anything done, and it's just easier than working with all of these different creators that you have to manage. So now it's just someone in my team that can make B-roll and extra shots that we need that we don't have for ads. So yeah, really nice. I'll keep producing more content there, and I just enjoy working with Asia. So yeah, that is an interesting update. Black Friday is live, right? We launched very early. I basically got this email from one of the CEOs of the print-on-demand suppliers that I worked with a long time ago, right? I was still on their list. I'll add it on the screen. But basically what the email was saying was, hey, across all our merchants, we see way better performance right now for the merchants that have already launched their Black Friday sale. Then I was like, this company has a lot of data points, right? They see like hundreds of brands that use them to fulfill their orders, and they see way better performance and more orders from brands that have launched their Black Friday sale. I was kind of already thinking about that, but that was kind of the catalyst for me to say, okay, I just have to get it out. I just have to launch it. I fully read it, the theme. Like, I didn't really do this in the years before, but one of my friends suggested it. Like, we did Black Friday banners. We did different sections across the page. So it's Black Friday. Remind people everywhere they are on the site, it's Black Friday. But you should really take inspiration from it and just steal the sections and make it in your own way, or, use it. Because these sections are really good, and I hope that will make a big difference. Again, it is really my time to shine now. If I do not really make my time worth it, or the skill that I'm achieving worth it in this period, I might as well move on to the next thing, because I'm just wasting my energy and my time. So I really hope that it's gonna be worth it. I think it will be, let's see. But you guys know the goal is to get the brand to 10 million a year. So this period here really will show the potential, because based on that, I can also forecast kind of next year's numbers with like the percentage in downtrend we saw after Black Friday last year, etc., etc. So then I can really get a good idea if it's going to be possible next year and what it's going to look like. So really excited about that. This is really, I need to be dialed this period, which I am. So that is good. Then most of the site issues have been fixed. So the new theme is live. There was many problems and headaches for weeks and months, and I think most have finally been fixed. I'll show you a little clip here. I was testing it on a plain Wi-Fi and it was working. If something is working on the plain Wi-Fi, it's probably working. It's like kind of a joke, but it's working now, even when you maybe have slower Wi-Fi, etc., which is important because not everybody will have flawless 5G. But this wasn't the biggest issue, to be honest. There were all these kinds of bugs and things that weren't working, and JavaScript issues and other things that were just broken, and most have been fixed now. Also, I found, I don't know, this is one of those things in e-commerce, developers. You can find good developers, most will rip you off. If you work with developers that are cheap, most suck. So it's really hard to find the cheap ones that are really good. Let's see. I think probably the guy I'm working with now is this. but we'll have to see, right? But he's been implementing a few things, like the Black Friday theme that you guys see. He's doing well. We've been bug fixing and changing around some other issues that kind of the agency that created the site had to do, but didn't. So yeah, that is great. Let's see how that goes, but most should be fixed now. I tweeted, my theory of creating e-commerce creatives, and I feel like I'm getting super clear on this. I think maybe half a year ago, this was really a big question of me, like, hey, I'm freestyling the ads and this and that. Then I got this agency, one of my friends with a big brand works with, to help me and kind of consult me and coach me into like building my internal team and learning about all of this. And I feel like across this period and just doing more, I'm now clear on what it means to create good ad creatives, what that looks like, what your team has to be built up of. And I kind of created my own theory around this. This is in this tweet. You should take a look at it. But based on that theory, I moved my creative strategist that I hired before, that I told you guys about, into more of like a part-time creative directing role, because I saw she was super good at finding trends, finding things that are relevant for our target customers, etc. But every time that I was in there strategizing, like really like this is the version of this concept that we're going to create, the ads were performing better. So I kind of decided that during this time, I cannot lose out on anything. Like I need to capture as much demand as I can. So I will move you over there and I will just accept the fact that I will have to create the strategies. So for example, this week we'll create this concept with these versions myself. This is kind of daunting work for me, but we were just seeing better results when I was doing this. And for example, now we launched like 100 to 150 ads already for Black Friday. Every sentence in the ad has a reason. I've thought about everything. And I feel like legit every ad in all of those ads have potential to win. Whereas before there were like, maybe half out of every week's ads that I was like, why are we even launching this? We just cannot do that right now. So until I find someone or someone comes on my path that is better at this than me, I will just accept it and crush the work myself. And I think I've learned a lot now, whereas 6 months ago, I was like, I'm freestyling it. Like, what should I do? But now I'm really dialed in terms of why and what you create in ads. So I'm just going to do it. This kind of ties into my other theory. Also put that on screen here. If you want to build a lean e-commerce brand as the founder or as co-founders, you kind of have to focus on three things, which are product, highest priority. You have to come up with a good product or find a good product. Second is creative. Third is media buying. And I was doing product and then I kind of outsourced creative and then I was doing the media buying. But I cannot properly media buy if the creative isn't done to the best of its ability, because actually creative and media buying, it's about 80% about the creative and only 20% about your campaign setup in meta ads. So I was actually kind of pushing away one of the most important things in, building a brand in e-commerce. So I'm back to doing that myself and I'm crushing it. I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm fucking dialed. I'm fucking zapping out these creatives, like I said before. So I'm really excited about that. We're creating super, super, super good creatives. And I'm finally at a point where I feel like that, which took a long time. I can actually push tens, hundreds of concepts now and iterations and IDs and with a reason and knowing why, etc. Maybe, I told you guys, if I properly scale, I think it's cringe when most people say this is how you should do something. But maybe at some point I'll create like a video breakdown of my creative process and fully go into the details. But that is kind of what I'm doing now. And that is kind of an update there with creative and my creative director. Then about the third most important part, media buying. I've been getting meta coaching kind of from two different separate people. I'm tweeting more now, talking shit there. I told you guys before that I wanted some sort of guidance in my meta ads, because how I felt like with creative 6 months ago is still kind of how I felt like with meta today. Like, am I leaving things on the table? Am I not leveraging certain things? Am I not looking at the data enough? These things I was just kind of freestyling, looking at my friends' ad accounts, kind of replicating them, etc. Without, like I said about creative, reasons of why I was doing things. And I want to be able to reason things and make conscious decisions about them. So I found two people. There were actually a lot of people that were like posing that they wanted to help and then just try to fucking scam me on high as retainers, which they're missing out. I'll make sure that the people that are helping out, it's going to be the deal of their lifetime. I'm going to refer them a lot of people. There's two agencies that are helping me out. One that I hired for Google that is giving me consistent coaching. A guy called Dennis. He also has YouTube videos. I'll put his agency in the description so you guys can take a look at it. They've been really helpful so far. I've actually already made some suggestions that are showing to work. For example, my Advantage Plus campaigns were performing very poorly. We've moved into cost caps with our Advantage Plus campaign, made some different exclusions. Like, for example, you need to have a segment of live updating customers. You can do this with Klaviyo. You can basically create a segment where all new customers come in and all existing customers are also in there already. And it's like it updates in real time. You can connect that with Meta, and then you can use that list to exclude in your Advantage Plus campaigns, basically saying you exclude all existing customers, so you only target net new customers. Different suggestions that have already been helping me profit more. So that's why I want to call them out, because they've been very helpful. So take a look at it in the description. And then there's this one other guy that tweets. He did like a free consulting session with me. And then I'll probably book like another once a month consulting session there. So we can have like a third eyeball on our account, on our Meta account. The consistent help from Dennis and his team. Great media buyers, great team. Then me putting my brain on it and being on Twitter and being a nerd. And then the third set of eyes with like this third guy. I think his name is Ivan. I'm not sure. I'll put him in the description. He also had some great suggestions in our first call. But one thing that we did realize, which I think was a great thing to learn, is that I am not shit at media buying. Even though you might feel like you don't know how you're doing things, etc. For me, it's like, I don't know why I'm doing a certain thing. They both came in and said, you're doing a good job. I might not be a world-class media buyer, but my media buying wasn't the reason for my brand not scaling, which I've talked to you guys about many times before. It's about creatives and it's about product. And in my case, it's product. My product isn't like the best product to scale to 100 million because the demand is low. It's very niche. Gone over this many times with you guys. Hopefully we'll solve that in the future with different collections. But yeah, I'm not shit at media buying, which was great. And they're helping me get even better. Again, creative, product, and media buying are the most important things. If you want to build a lean e-com brand, get good at those things and outsource everything else. And I want to get really good at those three things, which is why I decided to still do the meta media buying myself. The Google is now being ran by Dennis and his team, because I think Google is a whole thing on itself. I think that's better to outsource than meta media buying. And yeah, I just want to get really good at these three things, which I want to get world-class at as like a brand founder, because everything that I learn in this brand, I've talked to you guys about before, are for me to learn from and move over into the next thing that I'm doing. That's actually a way bigger opportunity. So a world-class product. If I build up world-class creative skills and media buying skills right now and apply that in the future to a world-class product opportunity vehicle, then it's going to explode. It's going to be huge. So yeah, kind of an update about that. I'm starting to use Motion and it has been really helpful. It's this software basically where you can do creative analysis. So this ties into, the creative strategizing that I'm doing now. You can basically see all of the different stats and data around creative in an easy overview, in a very visual overview. So you can see data that you cannot really easily access in Facebook, etc. And then what you can do is learn from what's working, learn from what's not working, and change things up. For example, you can see that a certain footage in your hook hooks people in at a high percentage. But then in keeping people engaged with the ad, you can see that cutting quickly works well. Okay, so then one ad has a high hook rate and another ad has a high hold rate. And then you can mix and match those and make different concepts based on the things that you learn really in there. I've already learned a lot myself in there that I didn't really realize before. Like what kind of clips actually work for us in the hooks? What kind of clips actually work for us in the holding of people, keeping people engaged? When do we have the highest click-through rate? So people, what like call to action works the best. And I've been mixing and matching these things and it's been really helpful, and it's because of Motion. Take a look at it in the description as well. I'll put it there. And then some free value that I kind of wrote down. Usually I tweet about these things. You should follow me on Twitter. I think I'm dropping some fire tweets, but the hooking someone in is to get people to watch and pay attention in the first place. Then in the hold, you can sell the emotion or inform people or present them a problem. And then in the end, so the call to action, you can present the product and the offer. That is kind of how I look at things. Just a look into my brain right there. So maybe that's helpful. Go check it out. I'm really turning up the pressure a lot. I'm being very rigid right now with everyone that I'm working with myself as well. I'm super fucking dialed. And some people cannot handle that because it's a lot of pressure. So, for example, my designer was just used to like, oh, make a few things, and with previously the creative strategist slash director doing all the instructions and stuff, it was like, maybe you can change this and do that, and then 4 iterations further, I still had feedback, right? So I dialed everything in, and it's basically the output amount is up a lot right now because of the holiday season. And then I'm being super rigid with instructions and pressure on doing it well. And he just wasn't able to handle that. So that's fine, right? Like, he's more of a creative person that wants to, be free and do all of these random things. But we're doing hardcore direct response marketing here. That needs to be out of the window. There must be a reason to do things. And then if something works, for example, you can iterate on it creatively because you decide that an iteration would be good to try different styles with the same text. But initially, that's all like, no, it needs to be based on a reason or data. Why do you do something? So he cannot handle it, which is fine, but that's why I'm looking for a new graphic designer. I tweeted about this as well. If you have design skills and if you want to learn about e-com, send me a message. I'll hire you. You will help us create ads. That is going to be your main priority, but I'll also show you and teach you about e-commerce on the side, because we need a new designer because of this. I also expanded our internal design team. So we have an internal design team, but they are mainly focused on doing the custom product designs, the fulfillment of the actual designs. They're not like worried about performance marketing. So I want to specifically have a designer for that. The fulfillment designers are different than the actual ad designers. Sorry, I was getting distracted. So yeah, you can send me a message. And then in general, I'm asking this because I've noticed that the best hires that I did were people that are like hungry and willing to learn and up and coming. And then you kind of take them in and you let them grow and you teach them, but they also are super dialed and hungry to work. It should be a healthy balance, right? Not the people that were already further and that were just kind of looking for easy work and had already kind of figured it out. This has been the case now with the guy that I hired for email through the videos, but this has also been the case for people that I hired internally from the Philippines, for example, that were just starting their career. Those people have been the best people and the highest performers in our team. So that's why I also want to find someone for this position, for the graphic designer. So yeah, random update about that. Etsy is not getting any sales yet, but I think for now that it's kind of a distraction. Not at the same place, because there's people that are literally ripping our designs and even our photos that we created and making sales. But I don't have the mental headspace right now to figure out how to gain momentum on Etsy. So I'm kind of putting that on the side, and it's kind of a responsibility of the guy I hired through the videos to get that going. But I don't worry about it too much, because right now I just need to spend more on Meta. That is what I'm worried about. So I told him, because he was asking for more salary, and I was like, bro, either perform better on email or get the other things that we're doing together going, so you can get performance bonus based on that. Anyways, that's a side note. He can make that work, and he should make that work. It's also fine. Like, I'm not going to worry about it right now. It's too much of a distraction. If I'm going to look anywhere past Meta and creatives, look at like running our best creatives on like Snapchat, TikTok, and Pinterest, for example. But that's it. Like, I shouldn't distract myself with anything else. So that's a little Etsy update. I'm setting up an influencer program. I feel like I'm massively missing out there. I told you guys before, there's this brand called PubRing. I talk with Alex from PubRing on and off, and they do tens of thousands a month of their influencer program. We basically have the same product, but then for a different niche. So we just need to do the same thing. And I'm going to actually make it a bit more sophisticated, because we have the community, organic community, exchange type community. That's going to be a whole like sub-influencer program kind of thing living on its own for exchange students. We need to dial it up in general more on there. Like, we're not leveraging it enough, the community that I created. But that is going to be one section. Then there's going to be micro-influencer seeding. Then there's going to be figuring out for all of the sub-niches that buy from us, where do they live organically? For example, Facebook group, magazines, and being on there. And then at some point, there should be like some sort of super affiliate program where you basically get a retainer to post daily on like a separate account, and then you kind of run up kind of the Andrew Tate, post as much as you can content on there and repost and stuff. A bit more than that, and a bit more comprehensive than that. That is what I'm setting up. I feel like I'm missing out like heavily there. But yeah, we'll get that going as soon as possible. I'm looking now who's going to help me with that. And I also found like a professional agency that does this for like 8-figure brands that is kind of going to coach us on it. So yeah, I'll update you guys on how that goes. And then something else I tweeted about and that I feel is that I have a clear issue with not feeling like I'm doing enough. And kind of, you should read this tweet and see what I mean by that. But I'm like dialed right now. I still feel like I'm not doing enough because there is so much more I can do. And let me tell you guys, there's my friends with big businesses, young guys like you and me, like multiple 8-figure businesses that still feel the same. So I guess it's kind of something that we're always going to have to live with. But sometimes I'm just so ADHD in my head. Like, I need to do this, I need to do that. And I forget about this, and then I forget about that. And then I do that. And it's just, even though I have a very clear overview now of like my power list and the things that I'm supposed to do, then it's like, I can also do that. And I think it's a prioritization issue. But there's rarely a day where I feel like I've done enough. I feel like in some ways it kind of drags me down a lot and stresses me continuously. But that's also just part of the game. And I don't know where that balance is and what I'm going to do with that. But yeah, in general, I'm super dialed. So that is good. And then I also wrote down that I've just been getting a lot more clarity and things are falling into place. I'm figuring out things more in terms of, I told you guys that I had many issues and things that I felt like administration and not moving forward. I feel like now I figured those things out just in time for this Q4 and things are falling into place and are like ready to scale up. So I'm fucking zapped, moving forward and scaling is what I wrote down. Just getting super clear on things and scaling my fucking brand, the life I've always dreamed of, which I've been saying too many times throughout these videos the past few weeks. Maybe it means that it's been more on my mind, right? That's good, because that means I kind of do reflect on things and stand still and enjoy the moment as well, right? Growing my brand, scaling, being with my guys, traveling, and this is kind of what I envisioned. My dream was to do this, so I'm really happy about that. But yeah, it's been a few weeks since I posted a video, and that has a reason. I said before that I was going to do these weekly videos, and then I did weekly videos for like 6 weeks or something, and then the views were going down. That doesn't matter a lot or at all, but that is an indicator that I thought, I'm probably too much in people's faces. I'm not trying to be a YouTuber, so I don't have to be in people's faces. And I feel like what I'm saying is not appreciated enough when I do push myself to just yap, because I was kind of looking for reasons to talk so I could find a weekly video to make. But then in this case, for example, I sit down now and I feel like this is a super informative video because I kind of have these are, and I can still, go over everything that happened in between the last video and now, which I did, so I can still document my whole journey. And I feel like now I've actually had very informative information for you that I learned that I didn't enforce. So I think that's a good thing. Like, I actually only, when I don't force myself to do a weekly video, talk when I feel like I have something to say, which is good. And then also I feel like doing these randomly, so every 2-3 weeks sporadically, kind of adds like a charm to the whole thing, because he's gonna be there anyway, so I'm not gonna watch the video, right? Now it's like, I'll upload a video and I'll have something important to say, otherwise I won't be uploading. I kind of keep it exclusive once every few weeks, and just whenever. I don't force myself to do it. And I feel like that kind of adds a charm. Maybe it doesn't, but that's kind of what I'm gonna do right now. I'll keep you guys updated in figuring this shit out. Because I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just winging it, motherfucker. So yeah, those were kind of the updates this week. That was everything about the brand and some other business things that were on my mind and about the videos. Now, let's get into my life, arguably more important than making money, like I've talked to you guys about before. There's lots of nuggets in there. I'm also going on my first business class flight, which I was pretty excited about. It was pretty interesting. I'm doing some other shit, coming here to Mexico, telling you guys how I feel about Mexico and showing you guys around. And yeah, if you want to see what I'm doing here and where I've been in between these weeks leaving Cape Town, then check it out and let's get into it. I just found out that I'm a fucking amateur. You see this? I'm supposed to fly the 24th of October. You see this? It's the fucking 25th of October. I looked earlier this week and I thought I flew on Friday, so I didn't look at it again. So I'm like getting ready to fly now. Got my stuff in Starbucks doing some work. Fucking amateur mistake. Holy shit. This is the second time in like a month I've been an amateur with flights. I hate making these amateur mistakes. This is amateur behavior. This is fucking loser behavior. Oh, I lost another 500 euros. For what? I mean, I'm lucky there's a good flight today, but it's fucking amateur. Well, I'll see you guys at the airport. All right. We got a new flight. It's tonight. I'm lucky, but I'm gonna miss this view. Look at this. In last week's video, I climbed that mountain. It was kind of crazy. But we found a flight. I'm lucky there were good flights tonight. But still, amateur behavior. Grinding out the thumbnails. Let me show you all of the thumbnails I made for this video. What time is it? 8 a.m. Connecting flight, because I missed my flight. Thumbnail 2. Oh, that was the previous one. Thumbnail 3. I haven't figured out yet how to outsource the thumbnails. I have not found anyone that can make them as nicely. But I will figure it out. I'll figure it out. The editing is going good now. So, I arrived. Even though I missed my flight. Amateur behavior, I arrived. And I don't want to become the guy that makes a life lesson out of everything. So, if I ever do, please comment that I'm yapping. But I did write some things down because I think it's an interesting thing I've thought about many times, and I kind of wanted to try to put that to words. I missed my flight, and I responded to that very unemotionally. I lost $600. Whatever, I book a new flight and I go, right? You can be like, that's easy for you to say now, because maybe, for example, the $600 means marginally to me less than it used to be when I was broke. But I already behaved this way when I was broke. Because I believe that when you act from a state of abundance for a long enough period of time, kind of the feedback loop gets you to the point where you want to be. Because you take the actions of the person that you want to become, for example, a person that wants to make money, which in result of doing the actions of the person that wants to make money or that makes money, you become the person that makes money, because you only take the actions that that person would do, which will result eventually in you making money. And that is kind of, for me, also the definition, the practical definition of manifesting. You think and behave like the person you want to be, and as a result, the feedback loop, you become the person you want to be, because you only behave like that person, which eventually will lead you to become that person, right? So back in the day, this story, I wanted to tell this story because very similar thing happened to me when I was living in Dubai with my ex-girlfriend. I was living with her and her mom. I moved in there right away after I met her in Bali. One day I had to go home to see my family in the Netherlands. We drove to the wrong fucking airport. And I missed the flight, and I behaved the exact same way. I booked a new flight on the spot, and I went home, and I didn't respond to it emotionally, even though I was broke. That $600 back then, roughly, meant way more to me, but I knew that I want to become a guy that acts from a place of abundance, that isn't impacted by $600, that doesn't respond emotionally to when he loses things, that doesn't respond to emotionally to money at all. I behaved in the exact same way as I did now, missing this flight. Whatever, I'll book a new flight. Because I knew, and that was my theory, the theory kind of worked, I guess, that if I acted like that for a long enough period of time, and this is a very specific detail, I don't only mean behave this way when you miss your flight, but in everything that you do in your life, you become the person you want to be. That is manifesting for me. Very practical way to look at manifesting. I don't know if that's interesting to you, but I kind of wanted to put that into words because I had many times thought about this, but now I actually have like a physical example that I can share it with. So maybe that makes you think of something or makes you realize something. Talk to you nice. I took you guys once on a flight, my first business class flight. It turned out to be a scam because, you know, I'm not rich. I don't come from a rich family. I don't know what business class means. I took a European business class. It's just a fucking economy seat. But now, we'll show you guys what's up today. My real first business class flight. Come on, huh? There you go. I should record my first VSL ad here. Look at this shit. If this is not the good life. A real business class. Cheers, bro. Cheers. Okay, so you guys know that my site has been a major issue for the past month. So the only way to really confirm that it's working is, with airplane Wi-Fi. And as you can see, my office setup right now is perfect. I'll move back my chair a bit to test my new website. So let's see if it's gonna work. If it's working on this Wi-Fi, it should work. Okay, the collection page loads. Let's personalize my piece. Let's put some shit in there. Oh, the loading is showing up. Let's see if it adds to cart. And it adds to cart, motherfuckers. Okay, the new website works. It's been fucking 8 months, but it's working on my new office Wi-Fi, so I don't think I'll change anything anymore in my office. This is just gonna be my go-to office. And my guy, he's documenting his journey. Inception, kill him. Good flight. I rate the flight an 8 out of 10. What do you rate the flight?
10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
More fun with the boy.
I'm still pretty fucked up though. My head is pretty guttered. Look how cool this shit looks. Do a podcast in here. Did some work, chilled a bit. The camera's tweaking though, because it doesn't know what balance is, because it's gonna slide. Motherfucker. That was the review. Arrived in Mexico. This is where the journey was going, but we're dead.
Tell me about your journey.
So my journey on the plane, I already reviewed it. So now we arrived in Mexico. You have to be in the shot. Mexico is very Mexican. Let me move the camera here. You see, it's very Mexican vibes. It's good, but I'm super tired. Welcome to Mexico. We just arrived there a few days ago. I already had some clips, but I didn't really say anything yet. Really feel like some sort of Bali vibes here. As you can see, the streets, very Bali-esque. So far, I don't know, I haven't seen that much yet, but it's kind of like a worse version of Bali, to be honest. But let's see in these next few days when I actually go out and do some shit. But it doesn't really matter where you are. Like we said, it's more about being with the people. And it's good to have seen all these places. I feel like I should do this in my early 20s. Probably when I'm in my late 20s, settle down with my wife somewhere or be longer in certain places. But now I just have to see all these places and kind of find out what I like. Let's get some coffee. Okay, so there were 2 people on the last video that basically commented, or one guy that commented, hey, can you talk about this, this, and this? What do you think about this when starting out a brand, etc., etc.? I started a brand a long time ago, but when I started these videos, I was basically still doing 0 revenue. Nothing was working. So you can go back and find all the information that you asked for in those videos. But since it's not really navigatable, you cannot really see, you know, where to look for what you're looking for. It's kind of hard because now he's like, he basically commented like, can you tell me about why, about building a brand and like the site and the conversion rate and all of those things, which I've already talked about in the past. So what I'm gonna do is create some sort of like overview of the videos and kind of make fun of the courses somehow, make it like a free overview where you can basically find all of the relevant information and search by keyword for the information that you need. So you guys know I love Virgil. Virgil has this website called Free Game. You can basically find all of the steps that you need, you know, how to name your brand, how to obtain a trademark, how to use Adobe Creative Suite. And it's basically all of the information that you need to start a clothing brand. And I'm gonna do the same, but then like for an e-commerce brand specifically, whatever you sell. And then, I don't know, maybe 0 to 10 mil or 0 to exit. And then in the future, it's gonna be like a free resource, how to get your brand from 0 to 10 mil and exit. And then all of the people that I've used and good agencies and good freelancers, and also all my videos with a description per video that basically explains what the video is about. So you can search for keywords and then see all of the videos that talk about that topic. And then I'll probably put like some sort of revenue indicator when I exit or something per video. So you can also see what I thought about different things at each stage of my journey, I guess. That's why I want you guys to share your opinion always. Keep doing that, even if you don't agree with me, because that gives me new ideas and challenges my selfish ideas. So it's good. So thank you for that. And I'll work on that and I'll update you guys when that is out. I'm here in this co-working space. Look at this. It's kind of weird. Imagine you sit there with your ass down. It's kind of weird. It's a nice space with a very jungly vibe. I like it. I'm scaling. I'm making my own ads because people are pissing me off. Look at how beautiful this ad is.
Yeah, it's really good. Test it.
Of course, but the point is,
Of
I'm
course.
busy scaling,
Of
so I don't have
course.
time to record these videos. If you were wondering why I haven't uploaded, Also, I kind of like Naval's idea of scarcity. Like, I was posting once a week, my views went down, and I was like, I'm probably too much right now for people. Like, who wants to watch me yap?
It's because they're hour-long videos.
Exactly.
It's
so
way too
I'll
much.
probably go back to recording randomly and uploading randomly.
Who did you have lunch with today?
It's actually this really nice girl. I told you guys that at some point I will have like a videographer with me. And I have this theory that it's either gonna be my two little brothers because they're my little brothers, and people will like them anyways. I'll make sure of that. Or I'll
You
just
should
take,
probably
like, a
not
pretty
say this.
girl.
Oh god. You probably
Because
shouldn't put
I
that
was
on there.
thinking, if you take like a dude with you, then the vibe is gone. Like, I'm gonna have to take a random dude with me amongst all my friends and stuff to document my journey. Again, I don't want to bother people with me wanting to document my journey, but if it's a pretty girl, then everybody will like having her around. That's a perfect solution.
But she can't just be pretty though. You're getting
Well,
cancelled.
you-
You're getting cancelled. This is the video.
I don't think so. No, of course, she has to be like a super good videographer, content creator.
But
girl.
first and foremost, pretty.
Yeah. 100%.
All right, so Ilia Topuria just won UFC 308, the main event. You guys know I love UFC. I think it's just the height of physical capability, and you know, I think it's so inspirational how they put everything on the line. It's just human versus human. They want to take each other's head off, and there are some people in there that excel to become great. And these fighters I enjoy watching the most. So not necessarily any random fighter, but I like the undefeated fighters a lot, for example. They inspire me a lot because they are, you know, becoming great. They are unbeatable. They are the best of the best in the world in their weight. And it takes a lot to get there. At the end of the fight, it kind of reminded me of something because Ilia Topuria was very hated in the build-up. He has always been very hated because he always spoke his mind a lot. You know, he always talked his shit. He always said, I'm gonna beat him easily, you know, how can you even think he's a fair battle for me? And a lot of people, they kind of got salty about it and they didn't really like him being that cocky, but he always backed it up and he always fucking laid people out clean. So all of the shit he was talking, he always followed up. And it reminded me, because I've always been a fan of him in these past, I don't know, year or something that I found out about him. He does say whatever he thinks, and that comes with a lot of hate, but that is kind of required to become great, because that is part of his whole mindset, just being very confident and just talking, you know, in whatever way he feels like it's gonna play out, even though everyone is hating on it. And he's just very intensely himself saying like, what, you even think he's gonna beat me? And then he backs it up, right? You do have to back it up, right? But, you know, hate will come with it. That living with intensity I wrote down, some people might not like it, but always do whatever you want to do with intensity, because even though it might stir up some hate, it might deflect people, it might, you know, rub people the wrong way, but that is the only recipe of greatness. So that is the only thing that will lead into you becoming something great and doing something crazy, right? Always do whatever you want to do with intensity, and then you're gonna be unique. Then you're gonna be great. There is gonna be people that don't like it. Probably a lot of people will be rubbed the wrong way by it because it's not normal. It's maybe a bit strange, you know? The way he was talking that confidently almost never turns out the right way in the UFC, but he also puts in the work and trains super hard and lays everyone out. That reminded me that I needed to do that always. You know, even though you might think, you know, he just does what he feels like, he makes these YouTube videos, he doesn't give a shit. I also sometimes think too much about things like, what does these people think of it, of that or that or that? And the thing is, when you're trying to always please everyone, you're never gonna turn out to be something great, because you're kind of watering yourself down. You're trying to, you know, be liked by everybody. And it is a reminder of me to always be myself and live it very intensely, even though maybe a lot of people won't like it. That kind of, I have to take that, and that will come with it, with living intensely and with being completely yourself and with doing whatever you want to do, with making these videos and talking my shit. It's something similar, right? I might rub people the wrong way, but in the end, that's gonna make my journey unique and different. And speaking my mind is what most people don't do. So even though I'm gonna rub people the wrong way, I still have to do it because otherwise I will never amount to something great. And I do want to amount to something great. Not being liked by probably many people will come with that, and I should just accept it and expect it. You know, I should expect it to happen. If that doesn't happen, I'm probably not living myself intensely enough, because everybody that lives intensely and is themselves has people that don't like them. So I shouldn't worry about that at all. I should always just do what feels right, do everything I want to do with full intensity, even though that might rub other people the wrong way. Also, a side note, I just think fighting is sick because I'm a pretty emotional person, I guess. I can really live into people's feelings. I feel like they feel that they don't have any other way to make it out. And then it's very inspiring for me to see that they do make it out and that they literally fight their way out and make it. And then I think if they can, like, what is my excuse? I mean, I'm fucking being a nerd behind my laptop. I should have no excuse. There's many things that I like about the UFC. There's just sick role models in there, and there's just sick people in there that are like very respectable physically, but in any aspect. Like Alia has a sick family, for example. I think that is very inspiring to see. It's just something I wanted to share. Maybe that reminds you to be yourself intensely, and that you should expect, and that is actually a good thing that people won't like you, because that means, that indicates that you're doing something right, doing something different. Because when you do something different, then people are not gonna like you. So yeah, just a quick rant.